Welcome to the Crossroad. It is at the crossroad where real people meet real challenges, deal with real issues. It is at the crossroad where we actually experience real life. It is at the crossroad. So I welcome you to the crossroad one more time, where we meet real issues, we meet real challenges, we live the real life, and we also get real solutions. And as you know, we have been covering a beautiful topic on relationships. We've been talking about how do we deal with issues pertaining to relationship. And the last one we talked about the different being a listener, the kind of listeners that are available to us. And today we want to talk about just how to be an effective communicator. How do we communicate? How do we talk? The two of us, we agree that we want to talk. How do we present the situation so that it doesn't look like we are either fighting or there is a problem in our conversation? Because a lot of couples struggle with just what they want to say. This is what I want to say. We don't either know how to say it, or if we think we know how to say it, we are saying it wrongly, or we created a wrong mood, or we started it with a fight. And it's because different people have got different things they come along with in a relationship. You could have come from a relationship where you knew, maybe you first met at a fight or a disagreement. The first conversation you had, someone stepped on your toe, you quarreled. After you quarreled, it's like, why are you stepping on me? And then something picked up and you're trying to make amends out of that. And so a lot of times people have different ways in which they engage in communication and in conversation. So today I just want to bring in briefly and nicely a beautiful way of how do we get to talk with one another. Now we need to remember that a lot go into preparing for a talk and a serious conversation between a couple, between a husband and wife, or a boyfriend and girlfriend. Sometimes you'd find it's convenient to, as you walk, you engage in a conversation. Most of the times you'll find that is a nice, but might not be the best place to have a serious, heavy-duty conversation. Sometimes it could be that you'll find it's very easy when you do it over dinner, and that is okay. So a lot of things go into what makes a conversation and a communication beautiful. It includes setting the place, the tonation of your voice, the way you present it, how you stick to the point, and many things. So I want just to bring out some of that so that we can be able to look at it when we are in a relationship and having a conversation. And sometimes it also helps solve problems that couples go through. So the first thing I need you to be able to know is that you need to choose the time. The time must just be right. Sometimes men, we have a problem because we think in boxes. We operate in boxes. And sometimes you can be driving, going to the office in the morning, and you want to discuss a very serious and an important thing in your relationship, and it's like she's saying, no, we can't discuss that now. Can we do that in the evening? He said, no, I think we should talk about it now. The timing is key. So you need a moment when you have enough time to have a discussion. You can disagree, but still agree, but then still. So don't be in a rush to discuss an important point simply because you want. Now, the timing is key. So you really need to know that you must choose the right time. Number two is the place where you want to have the conversation. There are places you shouldn't have conversation. Like, okay, there are conversations you can have in the car. There are conversations you can have maybe over dinner. There are conversations you can have when you're taking a walk. There are conversations you can have in the bedroom. But the question is, have you identified the importance of that conversation and the weight of the issue you're raising where you're discussing it? Like, we can be having the whole family sitting here, children, house girl, neighbor, and then you bring up an important something, maybe talking about dealing with parents or school fees issues, or raising children and discipline. It really is important that the place is good. The place must be right, and the moment that it goes with it is key. Now, number three is the tonation of your voice. A lot of us sometimes never know the impact of your voice when you talk. A lot of us don't. There are those of us with soft voices, and so you might think they don't take you seriously just because they're soft-spoken. There are those who are loud, and you might think they're shouting. Then there are those with sharp voices. You might think they're screaming or screeching. And there are those with deep voices that you think like, why are you trying to talk like you don't really care? Now, the tonation of your voice really tells a lot about the seriousness you put into this. Let me give you an example. We could be discussing about our finances and like, so what do you want me to do? I mean, really, I don't care. It's my money. And you're wondering like, why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Let's make it right. I mean, the conversation is important. They say about tonation that you can tell two people are either agreeing or disagreeing, or are intimate or not, based on the tonation of their voice. When a couple is fighting, they will shout at each other. It is said that there's an emotional distance, and that's why they shout. But when a couple are in love, or two people are really intimately close, you'll find that the voice is lower, maybe even deeper, and more soft and more quiet, to the point that someone can be on the phone and is like, hi, how are you? Are you okay? You are good? Yes. And the person, so who are you talking to? Well, I'm talking to someone. Where is he? He's in Australia. And he's like, really? Yeah, talking so soft. Well, he's like, I didn't need to shout. Why? We are that close. Though the distance physical might be far apart, but we are that close. So the tonation of your voice really makes a whole lot of difference. So make it pleasant, make it appealing, make it nice, make it worth listening to, make it exciting for someone to want to listen to it. Okay, that is key. Number 4 is that you need to be very clear and specific to the point. If we are discussing shoes, let's talk about shoes. And I know, and I've mentioned this before, that the difference between men and women is that we narrow down to the point we want to, and women will jumbo jet a little bit, and they'll talk about shopping and talk about shoes as a by the way as well. But I told you about it yesterday. Said what? We were talking about shopping, yes, but I mentioned about shoes, yes, I know. But then he went on, and the guy is like, I can't remember you talking about, you know. I'll give an example. And I gave you the cycles that we can go through, and the lady could be like, listen, oh, by the way, how was your day? My day was fine. He said, oh, and yours? Oh, mine was just drama. It was a lot. By the way, your auntie called me yesterday and said there's a wedding we're having this weekend, and she asked me actually to transport them. So I asked them that, yeah, you will drop them. Like, okay, I will drop them. Yeah, in fact, by the way, what did you eat for lunch? And you're wondering, you've just mentioned something about a wedding. I'm dropping some people. You haven't even asked me what I'm going to do on Saturday, and you've already booked me. He said, it's okay. Now, if you don't want, you call her and tell her you're not going, and then, okay, then you give me the car, I drop them. And he's like, okay, by the way, did you eat lunch? Oh, by the way, me, I had a great lunch. I was with this girlfriend of mine. You remember the one I told you about, you know, who got a baby, and da-da-da-da. And then after that, then she goes in. Oh, yeah. And then, by the way, I forgot. I was supposed to have passed by this shop to do shoes, because, you know, I can't go with these shoes to the wedding. And the wedding, so I need to do shopping tomorrow in the evening. And he's like, slowly, come slowly with me and for me, and I really need to follow slowly a little bit. At the end of the day, if you don't stick sometimes to the point and are clear about what it is you're saying, many times the other will lose you. And when they lose you, they lose interest. And once they lose interest, you wonder why they're not interested in what you are talking about, and they start concentrating on something else. That's why sometimes you'll find men, you're trying to talk something seriously, and then they're picking the remote and they start changing channels, and it's like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. No, I'm listening. So what did I say last? Like, do you want me to repeat what I said? Yes, repeat what I said. So why are you insisting? You don't believe me, you don't trust me. And it goes into interesting, serious, ugly conversation, which then is not healthy. So be specific, stick to the point, make sure the other got what it is you are saying before you move on to the next point. Because if you don't do that, then the tendency is that you will actually be losing the point and losing the conversation. Number 5 is be positive in your conversation. Be positive. It could be a sad or maybe not very pleasant conversation, but still be positive. I want to see a smile on your face as I talk to you. I want to see your eyes opening wide, you know. I want to see your eyes opening and letting me know that you are following, you're with me as we are talking. And I want to see a smile on your face. It gives me the impetus to keep going on. It makes me feel like, yeah, keep going, keep talking, I'm listening. And that's healthy for me, because then I know I'm not alone in this conversation. Yes, just be positive. Positivity helps make a conversation beautiful. Then number 6 is be respectful. Be respectful and courteous. You see, if I don't respect you in my conversation, it basically means then I don't care what it is you're saying. Yes, I need to show you some respect, you know, from the way I do my gestures, to the way I respond to your conversation, and to the way I follow up and ask the right questions, leading questions that helps you bring it out. But if I don't show respect, then it just tells me you don't respect the topic, you don't respect the person, you don't respect the relationship, you don't respect the conversation. There's so much that goes in, and people take that negatively. And it reaches a point where I say, like, well, I love him, but he does not respect me. Why? He doesn't respect my ideas, he doesn't respect my conversation, he doesn't respect my opinion, he doesn't respect my input into this thing. And therefore, yeah, it's a waste of time, energy, and relationship. And that can be a major challenge in the conversation. Number 7 is be sensitive. Be sensitive if the conversation is a painful one, or it could be something deep, it could be something very serious, it could be something emotional. You need to be sensitive enough. You might not, as men, we've been accused of not showing emotions when we're talking. So how was your day? Fine. Oh, so and so died. Oh, sorry. I mean, there's no change in the expression on my face. You don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't connect with it. And ladies are gifted with something, the sixth sense, the intuition that tells them when you could be on the other side of the line, and they can feel it. And are you okay? Are you fine? Yeah, I can feel you're tired. And you're like, I'm okay. No, but I can feel this. Are you okay? I mean, there is that thing that God put in them that makes it slightly easy for them to understand and feel you, while you as a man is just there. But then being sensitive to the conversation then makes you own up what it is you're saying and be able to walk with the person that you're walking and talking to. So be very sensitive, and that makes you actually appreciative of the conversation, and that makes it beautiful. Now, number 8 is that learn to pay attention to the details. Learn to pay attention to the details. Now, this is both sides, and whether it's men or women, you need to learn to pay, if you ever listen to 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-old girls talk, you wonder whether they even know what the word detail means. Because as this one begins to talk and the other one finishes the sentence, and this one laughs, and then this one, and then at the end of the day, everybody's talking and everybody's yelling, and then you realize, I knew what she was going to say, so I just finished it, and you're wondering, really? Do you ever get to hear the whole story? And it's like, no. But I know what she was going to say. Why? It will come around again in the course of the conversation later. Now, we like details. And as you get older, you begin to realize that, like they say, the devil is the details. The thing you didn't say could be, let me give you an example. Having pastored the church with the young people, sometimes in the evening, I would meet them outside, and everybody wants fair to go home. And so you ask them, so, how are you guys? Fine. So, Percy, we going home. Are you going home? That's, of course, I'm going home. Those are questions that, we are waiting for the next point. Then they say, so, how are you guys going home? He's like, well, we wanted your help. He said, okay, so how many are you guys? Then they start with, we are 3, 4, 5, 6 EV. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this. He said, how many exactly are you? He said, okay, we are 9. So what exactly did that conversation tell you? That conversation was telling you the line is long, so follow the guideline. Yes, 3, 4, 5. 3 is a safe number. 4 is okay. 5, yeah. 6 like this. So how many exactly? 9. Then there's trouble, because if you got the detail of the flow, you would know where he's heading, which they are hoping you don't find out, yet it's important you do. So if you don't go into the details, you will miss it out. Like you ask someone, so how was your day? And the guy said, it's okay. Now, the detail is in the tonation. The detail is, it wasn't that bad. So learn to hear what it is they are saying without the words. Okay? So the detail sometimes is like if someone asks you, and how much do you need for the project you are doing, and someone says, I need 10,000 shillings, and the guy tells you, okay, it's like about 5,000, 10 like this. like, give me specifics, details, because the devil is in the details, and quarrels are in the details, confusion is in the details, disagreement starts on the details, misunderstanding starts on the details. So when you are thorough on the details, it helps clarify the expectations and the response, and then the conversation. Because if you want to buy something and someone tells you, 5, 10 like this. So how much do I give you? I'll give you an example, and this is a common problem a lot of young people face, where someone says I'm broke, and then, so what? If you're broke, you haven't said anything other than letting me know you're broke. So what do you want me to do? It's like, okay, I need some money. I said, okay, how much? I don't know. So if you say you don't know, how do I know? How do I know? How do I help you? So it's okay. What do you want to do? So he said, well, I wanted to do 1, 2, 3. How much is that going to be? It's 3,000. I said, fine. So you need 3,000. He said, okay, I give you 3,000, or I give you 200, or I give you now the details is important. And this comes in particularly for parents when you're dealing with your young people. When they'll say, oh, we want to go to town. Like, okay, and then, yeah, we need fare, and we need lunch, we need, say, tell me you need fare, you need lunch, so that I don't assume you know. Because if you don't tell me the details, then I will assume you. I grew up in my brother's house, and my brother was very smart and very strict. So when you asked him, he would ask you the details, and when you asked for the details, when it comes to finances, he was an accountant. He asked for the details. He would tell me the details of how much. And he would know how much it is fair, and then you tell him I will eat lunch, and it's how much was it, and then he'll give you, if it was the total cost is 1,150 in those days, not these days. In those days, 150, and he gave you 200. When you come back and tomorrow you are going into town, he will want to know what you did with the change, because I need to know the details. Now, I'm not asking you to be overly strict, but I'm asking you that when you know the details, it helps remove suspicion, fear, misunderstanding, and quarrel. Okay, yes, so pay attention to the details, and that was point number 8. Number 9 is be solution oriented. Let's walk and talk towards giving solutions to the issues sometimes that we face in our conversation. What is it that you're asking? How can I help? How can I get to where you're saying? What is it you want me to do? How can I, because that helps. That helps. Okay, if I am solution oriented. Now there are people who say sometimes my talking with you did not ask for a solution, but I need you to let me know that you're not looking for solution. You wanted just me to listen. Or as we come to the end of the listening, do you want my help? And my help could be just to have to do listening, which I have done, and I'm okay with listening, and I'm okay with offering a solution. The question then is, how do I help when? Because men, we are created to help. We are solution oriented. We are wired to solve problems. That's why Adam was asked, go do this, go name animals, go take care of the land. We are wired to sort out issues and solve problems. And so the tendency will be, which is our undoing sometimes, is that every time we raise an issue, we want to solve it. And sometimes, your significant other comes and says, oh, by the way, I had a terrible day. My computer just crashed and things went come. I mean, I pressed it, it wasn't opening, and I don't know what was wrong. And then there was on the screen, there was this thing that was just, I couldn't do anything about it. And of course, your wiring system tells you that, oh, did you try this? Yeah, I did, and it solved it. It's like, oh, okay. So you almost feel like, okay, I wish you helped me know you solved it, but you left it hanging, pending somewhere. So I was wondering, do I need to help? Do you have the laptop here? I can help sort it out. So it's important that we learn to do that as well. It's really great that we be solution oriented. And sometimes if solution is just to listen and give a listening ear, that is healthy. That is very healthy as well. Okay, yes. Now number 10 is think through what you want to say, particularly when it's something that requires that is sensitive. Think through it before you say it. Something, it could be sensitive, or it requires solution, it could requires my input, or it requires your own actions. Think through it before you say it, because sometimes we think our mouths move faster than our heads. Have you ever had such an experience where your mouth moves faster than your head? Yes. Where, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. I said, okay, but now that you said it, your mouth moved faster than your head. So how did you let the cat out of the basket? I am sorry. And sometimes you can't take it back. It's come out, and it's come out badly, and yes, you are stuck. You're stuck. So someone then don't trust you again. someone then will never trust you with confidential information or information that are valuable, and in my in my area and field of work, confidentiality is key. Confidentiality is key. And so if you tell me something and I'm not supposed to tell the other, and when I open my mouth and that's the first thing that comes out, it's like, oops, sorry, he didn't tell you. It's like, really? Trust you me, you'll never get it again. You'll never get to tell me confidential information about. So it's important then that you think through something before you actually talk about it. I know I go through that with, even when I want to present something to my wife. It's like, okay, I start even thinking, what are the possible answers she's going to give me when I raise this issue? What are her possible trains of thought? And I know men, we struggle with that. What is she going to think? This and this and this, and you try and get solutions to the possible questions, and then of course when finally you present the issue, then you discover there's just one more point you did not think through, and that's the one she thought through, and you're like, okay, yeah, let's see if we can sort it out. But thinking through gives you an opportunity, and that's why sometimes I tell couples, particularly when there's a conflict, that write down the issues you are bringing out. Write them down, because when you do, then your mind clarifies through as you write them down, and that is very, very important. Number 11 is very, very good. That avoid listening to yourself while you are talking, while someone is talking to you. Our brains are wired in a very interesting way, and this is some of us. Someone is talking to you, but you're listening to yourself first. It's like you do what we talked about, selective listening. You're waiting for him to say what it is you want to say. So when he doesn't say it, you can hear it in your head. You're waiting for it. Is that, yeah, this is what I want him to say. And if he doesn't say it, he hasn't said anything all this time. Could have talked for an hour, but he didn't say anything because he didn't say what I wanted him to say. So I'm hearing me talk to me while you are trying to talk to me. So avoid that, because the more you do that, the more you don't actually hear the details, and you don't hear the other side of the story, and you become so engrossed in who you are and just yourself, and that is not good for conversation and relationships. And it's important that you take that seriously, that avoid just being you, yourself, and listening to yourself all the time. And this happens, and when you talk about, and I talked about it last time, when you talk about selective listening, and I give this example. Kenyans can be amazing. I mean, they go to Labor Day celebrations, and everybody expects the president to say the food prices will go down, and this fuel, all these things will go down, and everybody's talking about, they're waiting for a salary increment, basic salary going up. And then the president doesn't say that, and he's like, what was the preach? He's like, he said nothing. He said nothing. Nothing. Why? He didn't say what I was expecting him to say. Sometimes I deal with couples, and there's sometimes, sorry ladies, I'm on your case today, where a lady expects you to have said this. And if you don't say it, why didn't you respond? Said, but I did. He said, no, you didn't say. This is how you are supposed to have responded. So really, this is how I was supposed to. So are you trying to tell me that my response was wrong? Say, no, but this is how you should respond when you ask that question. The question then is this: if you want to know the answer, why did you ask me? Or why did you want me to? You now have to control my thoughts, my mind, and my and men don't like that. We don't like that. So ladies just get to know that sometimes being controlled or being programmed to think in a particular way puts us off to the point that now we stop talking and avoid conversation. And it's important that you know how to deal with such issues.